I wanted a divorce.
My name is Ivy, and for what felt like my entire adult life, I had this label that I absolutely cherished. I was the fun one, the life of the party, the person everyone looked to for a laugh, for energy, for that little spark that makes a good night great. And for way too long, I let myself believe that this label gave me a pass. A pass to say anything, do anything, as long as it got a laugh. I thought being funny was more important than being kind. I learned the hard way how wrong I was. It was our company's annual celebration. Imagine the scene, chandeliers casting a warm golden glow, soft music humming in the background, and people moving around in their finest suits and dresses. It felt like a movie. I was wearing my favorite navy dress, my secret weapon for confidence. It was the dress I always picked when I wanted to feel like I owned the room. But the moment I saw my husband, Caleb, across the floor, something inside me shifted. The worst version of myself stepped forward, the one that chased applause instead of genuine connection. There he was, my Caleb. He's always been the quiet, steady one in our relationship. He looked a little nervous, trying to make small talk, and a part of me, a really ugly part, found it amusing. Not in a loving, teasing way. No, this was selfish. This was cruel. I grabbed my drink and walked over to him, raising my voice just enough to make sure a few people would turn and listen. "Caleb," I called out, a smirk already on my face. "Did you finally learn how to talk to humans? Or are we still watching a cat try to do its taxes?" The laughter that erupted around us was loud. It was sharp. And hearing it now in my memory, it was so cruel. Caleb's face turned a deep shade of red. He shifted on his feet, forcing a faint smile. It was the kind of smile you put on when you were just trying to survive a moment of total humiliation. My coworkers were roaring with laughter, and me, I just soaked it all in. Their delight filled me up, a sense of pride swelling inside me like a toxic balloon. I wasn't done. I had an audience, and I was on a roll. "Wow, a whole sentence from you. Somebody get this man a medal." More laughter, more approval. And with every laugh, I was pouring more poison into the air, right into the heart of my own husband. I didn't stop to notice the way the light in Caleb's eyes seemed to dim. I didn't see how his shoulders slumped just a little bit. I didn't see him. I just saw the applause, the attention, and that was all that mattered to me. Much later, after I made my rounds and accepted compliments from coworkers telling me how hilarious I was, I heard Caleb's voice cut through the noise. It was steady, calm, almost unreadable. "Ivy," he said, "can we talk for a minute?" My stomach instantly tightened. Something was different. His voice wasn't angry. It wasn't even hurt. It was something heavier, something final. We found a quiet corner by a large window, away from the lingering party guests. The city lights twinkled outside, but inside that little bubble of space, the air was thick with tension. Suddenly, the laughter from earlier wasn't a triumphant memory anymore. It echoed in my mind like an accusation. Caleb stood in front of me, and there was this strange sense of peace about him. But it wasn't a passive, timid peace. It was controlled. It was powerful. "Ivy," he began, his voice level. "I know tonight was fun for you." Everyone had a good laugh. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't tremble. He didn't point a finger, but his eyes. His eyes were so steady, and looking into them was absolutely heartbreaking. Do you know how that felt for me? Panic started to bubble up inside me. I tried to laugh it off, to deflect, but my voice came out shaky. "Oh, come on, Caleb. It was just a joke." He just shook his head slowly. "It wasn't a joke. Not for me. Not tonight." And with those words, everything inside me went cold. The laughter I had bathed in just a couple of hours ago now felt like broken glass, sharp and cruel, rattling around in my chest. "You mocked me," he continued, his voice still calm, which somehow made it hurt even more. "In front of people I care about, people I respect, people who, until tonight, respected me. My throat felt so tight I could barely breathe. He leaned a little closer, not in a scary or aggressive way, but with this devastating honesty. They'll forget in a minute, Ivy, but I won't. That line hit me like a physical blow. My chest constricted. I couldn't catch my breath. In my desperate need to be the center of attention, I had humiliated the one person who had stood by me for years. The patient, supportive, gentle man I had promised to love and protect. And I had treated him like a prop, a punchline in my one-woman show. He took a deep breath, and I could see the resolve in his posture. There's something you need to understand. Something I've held in for too long. My lips parted, but no sound came out. I was completely frozen. I've been invisible in this marriage for a long time, he said. And I can't live like that anymore. Invisible. That one word just crushed me. It shattered my entire reality, because he was right. In my desperate quest to be seen by everyone else, I had completely erased the one person who should have been my whole world. The one person I had promised to see, always, he went on. I'd let the joke slide for years. I told myself it was harmless, that it was just your personality. But it wasn't harmless. Tonight made me realize that my silence is the problem. I've been teaching you that it's okay to treat me this way. Tears started to burn in my eyes. My pride, that huge, inflated thing I had protected for so long, began to crack. My ego just shattered into a million tiny pieces on that polished floor. And I'm done, he said softly. I gasped, the word catching in my throat. Done? How? What do you mean, done? He took a small step back. It wasn't an act of leaving me, but an act of reclaiming his own space, his own dignity. I'm not leaving you, he said, and I felt a flicker of relief, but it was quickly extinguished by his next words. But I am leaving this dynamic. No more public humiliation, no more jokes at my expense, no more being invisible. Every single word was a stone dropped into my chest, heavy and cold. I didn't realize, I whispered, my voice barely audible. You didn't, he answered, and there was no malice in his voice, only a sad, gentle truth. And that's the problem. But now you do. And you get to choose what happens next. In that moment, for the first time in so long, Caleb wasn't the quiet background character in my story. He was clear. He had boundaries, he was strong, he was so incredibly present. And I had never been more shaken or more deeply ashamed in my entire life. That night, the party ended, but my real journey was just beginning, the journey of learning to see the man right in front of me. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It means the world.